Greetings once again, my friends. More importantly, my fellow Star Trek fans. I got another little goodie to share with you guys today that's going to be involving Star Trek. We're going back to Star Trek the Motion Picture. And this one is going to be tough because, God forbid, we get a copyright strike. But I want to share with you the soundtrack, the special soundtrack from Star Trek the Motion Picture. And it's got a bonus CD, Inside Star Trek, with Gene Roddenberry. And you can see the label. And we've got the 20th anniversary collector's edition. And what makes this one interesting is there's a sticker on the back that says for promotion only. Ownership reserved by Sony, sale is unlawful. So, let's take a look at the song list. And this would be, it's tough, excuse me, I'm trying to read it through the lens. We got the main theme, main title, Klingon Battle, Total Logic, Floating Office, The Enterprise, Leaving Dry Dock, Spock's Arrival, The Cloud, Voyager Flyover, The Force Field, Games, Spock Walk, Inner Workings, Voyager Speaks, The Meld, let's see, The Good Start, and the End title. And I don't have enough light to actually read all this, so we'll do it at the desk. Well, you can see the bonus CD, Inside Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry. Nichols. I tell you what I'm going to try to do is, can they copyright a voice? I'm going to try to put up the interviews for you guys. And hopefully you'll be able to hear the interviews. But I didn't want to open this up, but to be honest, I want to have the soundtrack. I want to put it on my iTunes and have it on my phone. So why don't we take it over to the desk? We'll open it up and we'll see what's in the special edition. All right, that's better. There's a lot more light over here. And this is the 20th anniversary. And even with this, it's still tough to read that. Let's see. Let's see, we've got 8 unreleased tracks, sequences as they appear in the film, comprehensive notes, and annotated discography, newly remastered and pristine sound quality. Star Trek the Motion Picture Original Soundtrack 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition. Bonus CD, Inside Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry. First time on CD, expanded edition with 3 unreleased tracks, and new narration by Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. See reverse for more info. And this is K65134S3. I don't really know if that's going to show up, but let's check out the back. You can see that nice kind of holographic reflective packaging. Yeah, this is better. Original soundtrack recording composed, conducted, and produced by Jerry Goldsmith. Previously unreleased. Let's see. And the bonus CD is a Star Trek theme, introduction with Nichols, Inside Star Trek, William Shatner meets Captain Kirk, introductory to live show, about science fiction, the origin of Spock, Sarek's son Spock, the Quester Affair, the Genesis 2 pilot, cyborg tools and ET life forms, McCoy's prescription for life, Star Trek philosophy, Asimov's world of science fiction, The Enterprise runs around, a letter from Network Censor, Star Trek Dream, Ballad 1 and Ballad 2, and Sign Off with Nichols. Now, like I said, guys, as much as I want to put the whole thing up, you just know that the copyright issues, I'm not going to be able to put anything up with this. But what I'm going to want to do is I will put a section where we'll listen to all the narrations. So hopefully that will come through. So why don't we open this up? And like I said, I really didn't want to open this, but I'm dying to hear the special features. And I don't have the soundtrack for Star Trek The Motion Picture. I do have it on my phone. I've got Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, and Star Trek 6. I think I've got the complete soundtracks, but not for the Star Trek The Motion Picture. I do have the cassette, but can't get that onto the computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully break the seal. There, just enough so we can get the CD out. That's all I want. All right, so well, after some working, there's a seal, a vacuum on the inside that made it really difficult to get the CD out. So I wanted to keep the packaging intact, so let's put that to the side. And now, I mean, there's no way to keep this sealed, so this has to be completely open. So let's see if we can... Stickers were tough to get off because it's sealed in plastic, but there's also a sticker on top. Anyway, let's open it up. And you can see we've got disc 1. Straighten it out. And usually, yep, it opens up this way. And we've got disc 2. I love the background. You can see the Enterprise. Primary hull. The secondary hull. The space sensory array. We've got the sensor array on the bottom. We've got the phasers. And this is the 2 CD set. Star Trek 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition of Star Trek The Motion Picture. So this would be $19.99. Looks like it's got a book. Let's try to get the book out without... Alright, let's see what's in here. We got a nice depiction of the movie poster. We got some information. I love this stuff. The film. After a 10-year hiatus, the cast of the classic 1960s television series was back in action at long last. James T. Kirk was once again in command of the newly refitted starship USS Enterprise, leading his gallant crew against a possible hostile threat unknown, intent, and power. With famed director Robert Wise at the helm, this eagerly awaited encounter would be lavishly played out with a theatrical motion picture screen. With ample visual effects budgets, surely a breathtaking adventure could only result. With the film's actual merits having been consistent since its 1979 release, 2 elements have always received unanimous approval. First, it undeniably launched the current wave of Star Trek franchise, which has resulted in 8 more feature films, 3 television series spin-offs, and after 20 years still shows no signs of ending. And again, remember, this came out in 1999. The second issue, everyone agrees, is that Jerry Goldsmith's masterful score definitely blended creator Gene Roddenberry's romantic version of idealistic 23rd century life with the eerie mystery of unknown space. Having completed the score for Alien just before he was to compose the music for this film, Goldsmith was already acknowledged as a master in creating underscores for science fiction and fantasy. Among his early credits were the scores for such classics as Planet of the Apes, Logan's Run, The Omen, and The Illustrated Man. I mean, of course, these are all great films. And again, he did the, Jerry Goldsmith also did the music for the original series. And moving on, you can see the bridge crew. We've got Decker, who was the captain until Admiral Kirk came back. Incidentally, This man, his father was Commodore Matt Decker. If you guys remember, he was the one that was the captain of the USS Constellation, and the Constellation was lost in the Planet Killer in the episode The Doomsday Machine. This is his son. We've got Lieutenant Ilea. We've got Mr. Spock. We've got Nurse Chapel, Montgomery Scott, Dr. McCoy. Let's see. Janice, is that Janice Rand? We've got Commander Chekhov, Lieutenant Uhura, Dr. McCoy, Mr. Sulu, and of course we have Admiral Kirk. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, got a beautiful shot of the Enterprise, NCC 1701A. Unlike many of the previous film assignments, however, he spent more time on the feature because of the film was still being shot while he was composing. In an attempt to push the limits of optical technology, in answer to the success of Star Wars, Paramount had engaged the services of several effects, worked around the clock in conceiving breathtaking new imagery. And it talks about, we've got a beautiful shot of the Enterprise right there. 3 musical ideas constitute the cornerstones of this important score. The first is the sweeping heroic motif that represents the epitome of Star Trek philosophy, used chiefly here for the Enterprise and its commander, Admiral Kirk, main title, The Enterprise, A Good Start. Now, they also, the theme to the Star Trek The Motion Picture was also picked up and used by Paramount for Star Trek The Next Generation. So if it sounds familiar when you watch Star Trek The Next Generation, that was the Star Trek The Motion Picture theme. And you can see it's got breakdowns of the songs. So one is Ilea's theme. We got main title. The full 90-piece orchestra with brass chorale kicks off the memorable main theme, played behind a simple opening title sequence of just white letters on a black background. Though the percussion was more prominent in the film version, it was mixed down for the album release. And then we've got the Klingon battle, Total Logic, Floating Office, the Enterprise. Scotty takes Kirk on an exterior tour of the newly refurbished starship. This piece, in reality a love theme, is structured to the main build of a certain amount of suspense as Admiral Kirk and the audience sees the majestic Enterprise peeking out from behind the latticework of the dry dock orbiting Earth. As the travel pod moves around to the open front, the ship is revealed, in all its glory. Because remember, that's the first time we see the Enterprise, because the Enterprise, for the longest time, was this. And then she got a refit. She got a complete makeover. Let's see what else we got. Leaving dry dock, again, beautiful scene. Spock's arrival. The Cloud. We're introduced to V'ger. V'ger flyover. The force field. Games. Spock walk. Inner workings. V'ger speaks. The meld. Good start, and the end title. Ilea's theme is book-ended with 2 versions of the main title. You can see a good shot of V'ger right there. And I don't know if the camera's going to pick all that up. The score for Star Trek The Motion Picture was eventually nominated for the Best Original Score at the 1979 Academy Awards, though it lost to George Delure's A Little Romance. I never even heard of that. You can see inside Star Trek. We've got Lieutenant Uhura, Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock, and Captain Kirk. Inside Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry, and you can see the title list. We've got Star Trek theme, introduction by Nichelle Nichols. Inside Star Trek, William Shatner meets Captain Kirk. Introduction to a live show. about science fiction, the origin of Spock, Sarek's son Spock, the Questor affair, the Genesis 2 pilot. I wonder if that's going to be going into Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Chiborg tools with the ET life forms. McCoy's prescription for life. The Star Trek philosophy. The world of science fiction, the Enterprise runs around, a letter from the network censor. Star Trek Dream. We got Ballad 1 and Ballad 2, and a sign-off with Nichelle Nichols. And again, I'm going to try to put up as much of this as I can. What I'm going to do is, when we finish the book, I'm going to put up these sound files for you guys. Again, we got a great picture of the bridge crew with Mr. Scott, Mr. Chekhov, Nurse Chapel, Dr. McCoy, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Mr. Sulu. And we have the creator, Gene Roddenberry. Exclusive producers. Let's see. This is more like credits. Let me show you guys the credits. And that's the book. So this actually came out in 1998. But although the 20th anniversary would have been 99, but maybe it was printed and produced in 1998. That's why it's still a ways away from, you know, like with today with all the websites and all the availability of media digitally. So, again, let's take another look. We got disc 1, and this is the soundtrack. Now, I know I probably won't be able to put anything up from this. And we have Inside Star Trek with Gene Roddenberry. And I love the diagram of the Enterprise inside Star Trek. This is the USS Constitution class, NCC 1701 USS Enterprise, engineered by Russ Payne, model MK-LR1X, inside Star Trek, produced by Ed Naha. So, why don't we go ahead, and incidentally, guys, one of the things that I love doing is I love to take the CDs, and if you have iTunes, even if you don't use it for anything else, you can put it on your computer, and no matter what CD you put into it, it'll import it into the library. Now you may be saying big deal, but what's good about that is it'll pull all of the copyrighted songs off of the CD, and it will actually make a file on your computer of just music. Just the songs. Whereas if you try to take a CD that's copyrighted, you throw it in your computer and you want to take off the sound files, you can't do it. But if you do iTunes, not only will it put it in your library on your computer, but it'll also remove the copyright and it'll take it and it'll put it in to a file on your computer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this onto my computer. And because I have an Alienware, I've got a gaming laptop. I don't have the direct DVD inside, so I have to use an external one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to import everything from these into the iTunes library. And like I said, I'm going to put the files up for you guys right now.
This is Nichelle Nichols. I was very proud to play the role of Chief Communications Officer Uhura on the Starship Enterprise in Gene Roddenberry's legendary Star Trek. For all of us who were involved in it from the beginning, Star Trek was a marvelous journey into a world of the future, of peaceful exploration and self-discovery. As simple as this thesis might seem, today, it was groundbreaking in 1966. Gene, who conceived it, wrote it, and directed it, was indeed a genius. A fascinating storyteller, he was also a great lecturer. This CD, which was recorded in part before a live audience, reveals Gene at his best, describing some of the facts behind the series, some of the little details that made each episode so entertaining and captivating. Won't you join me now as Gene escorts us on a most enjoyable journey inside Star Trek?
How much of Bill Shatner is Captain Kirk?
Well, Gene, the act of putting on a television show, a television series, is such a back-breaking, all-encompassing task. The hours we put in are so enormous that to be able to make up a character and sustain that for the years that we did it would be impossible, I think, for anyone, but certainly impossible for me. So what essentially comes out is William Shatner himself, as himself, saying the lines that were written for me to say in a situation that I was placed in.
I've certainly got a lot of questions on. And fans talk about rumors of trouble on stage, and very often the subject of you and Leonard Nimoy come up, that they wouldn't speak to each other, that there were great problems on stage. How would you address yourself to that?
Well,
We can cut this out of the recording if you like.
no. I really love Leonard. I really care for him a great deal. He's a very fine human being. He stands behind what he says with his total character, and when he says something, he really means it. I mean, you can take him at his word. He is slyly humorous and very affectionate in his own way that is remarkable. And to address myself to the elements of friction on the stage, I would put it in the way that two children in the same family might squabble over something. Loving each other, but squabbling. I mean, any member of a family would know what I mean, and that means all of us. If you can say, no, I don't think that's right, in that querulous tone, and be angry at the moment, and then forget it the following moment because you care for that person.
And that, my friends, was the special 20th anniversary collector's edition, for promotion only, not for sale, of the soundtrack by Star Trek The Motion Picture, with all the little extra goodies. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to see if I can get another version of this, maybe Star Trek 2. Maybe we can work our way up with the other films, the special ones, the collector edition ones that are hard to get. So my friends, until my next video, live long and prosper.